What we're now going to attempt to do, as I say, I'm not overly convinced that this will work, but if we get there, it'll be good. If not, I've got a cut down version that's already running. The whole reason what's happened is, I've had this running on the phone and everything was great up until 9 o'clock last night. 9 o'clock last night, I thought, you know what? I'm going to blame Jeff here because I found a problem and he said, it's Xamarin Forms. Get the latest Xamarin Forms. I said, but if I do that, I need the latest of everything, Android and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just do it. So at 9 o'clock last night, I did it. And at midnight was when I made the decision, do you know what? I'm going to start from scratch now because nothing I've got is actually working. So let's see what happens. This is where we're going to define the actual specific device project, okay? So this is going to target a particular OS, Android in this example. We're going to have to define things like application icons and various images. We're not going anywhere near the App Store, but if we did, we'd have to have these. It looks a lot nicer if you implement a splash screen, so we'll implement one of those. And then in our main activity, we're going to basically bootstrap into our view model and our common code and say, get on with it. And have as little as code as possible in the actual bootstrap Android activity code. For testing this, the nice thing about it, because it's Android, it plugs in, it's physically plugged into my thing at the moment. So we're going to run it on my physical device. You can all see this screen. What I will also run is a product called Sidesync that allows me to show my phone screen on my laptop screen, okay? When I do, it tends to work very slow. So while it's building and deploying, I will turn Sidesync off, otherwise it just takes absolutely forever and sometimes fails. And if we get it to build and work, we should also be able to do the whole scan my barcode and all that kind of good stuff. And then it'll go and do the Google search and all that kind of stuff. So we're just going to get sort of down and dirty now and see where we get to. So up until this point, everything builds. So let's add a new project. Now, one of the reasons that this is going to be a bit trickier than it should be, if I was to do this in C#, I could go to Xamarin and create a Xamarin Forms project that targets Android. But we don't have that template yet in Synergy. We should do, and we will do. So at the moment, I'm just going to create an Android application and sort of convert it into my cross-platform one. I did do this and did get it working, so we'll see what happens. And I'm going to call it on vinyl Android. Okay, first thing we'll do is I can add an activity into this. So I'm going to create a splash screen. At the top of this, and this is where I'm going to have to remember where to reference things. Add reference. I want common. It's in here that I put the licensing stuff, isn't it? Now what I did do, oh, it's all in there. I don't want these. Those are not going to be part of my stuff. There's loads of stuff in here I'm not sure I want. Okay. If I look at the top of activity, you'll see here, this to do. Now this is not going to be my startup one, this is. So in here, this is my Synergy device licensing stuff. So when I got that email, it said, give me a public key and an app GUID, okay? And we'll find that license class in a minute. So here's where I go to my email that was sent to me and put in my public key, and then I'll put in my app GUID. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm just copying from here, this email I was sent. Copy that and paste it into the app GUID. So those are the bits of information from when I created the device licensing capability. In my on vinyl, I've added this license class. where it implements the licensing for Synergy DE device licensing. So I've got a token and a password and a description. Those are the 3 bits of information that I have to pass through. The test and 1, 2, 3, 4, that's what came across on the email. Okay? You can create different ones, but that's the default that came through. The description I'm going to set up as Richard and date and time. That's going to allocate a different license every time, which I don't want. No, let's put Richard, dev partner. The implementation in here is simply going to be the most basic I can. When this activation dialog comes up, I'm not going to put a dialog up, I'm just going to simply say, do you know what, activate given this token, this password and this description. Because I've just got the one device, that should work. Because it's hardwired, the description's the thing that's hardwired. The token and the password, you use that all over the place, but this description has to be unique for each device. So you wouldn't hard code that, okay? But I am doing because I'm only using the one device. So that's all I'm going to talk about in there. There's going to be whole big long sessions of Synergy device licensing in the not too distant future, and Steve's going to do them all. Now, resources drawable. There's an icon in there, so if we go to that folder, it's called On Vinyl Android, it's spelled incorrectly, I do appreciate that. Go into drawable. We don't want that icon, so what I'm going to do is drop these 3 into here. Okay, so that's now our icon. A nice little vinyl disc, as they say. When I've done that, I can then bring those into here. Okay, layouts, I'm going to bring some other layouts in. Main, tabbed and toolbar. Have I got toolbar in there? No. So if I go into here, because I've got this sort of semi-working over here, and then bring them, can I edit that in here? Oh, just wait. Oh, it's taking its time. Okay, I want to add those in that I've just brought across, which were toolbar. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my splash screen, which I have created. And again, this may take me a few minutes to get things going, but we get in there. Activity is, we'll call that On Vinyl App. And the theme, in fact, I can just do this, can't I? The comma separated. So we can do at style/theme.splash. I have no idea where that is. I just make it up as I'm going along. And then I do main launcher equals true. No history equals true. And that should be about it then, in there. It's an activity, override on create, bundle, so base on create, got that. So in here, I'm going to do start activity, type of not sure why that's not doing that, because it extends activity. Okay? But we'll worry about that in a bit. Change that to false, because that would normally be the one. That's the icon. Android, don't know what it's going to do. So I don't want any of that code. What I want is, and I'm just going to copy this in actually, because C# and Synergy is pretty close these days, except for comments. Because we don't have a terminator. So those should work because I added that resource, tab bar and toolbar, and I have to do that prior to the on parent. And then I can do Xamarin Forms init. Did I add Xamarin Forms into this project? So yeah, Xamarin Forms we need to add into this project because we're going to be doing Xamarin Forms, and we're also, if we can get the barcode stuff working, we're going to need this Sing Zong Diggly Dong, which I believe is that one. We shouldn't need any Symphony at this level, I don't believe. Do we need the compatibility? We'll see how we get on with that in a moment. So in activity 1, I want to do the forms init, and then I'm going to create, so up here I will create a private one of them and do it as an @app, and in theory that should say on vinyl common, which it has done, so it'll put the namespace in for me. That's very nice of it. I'm loving you very much. And then I can say M on vinyl. Okay, it's not doing the IntelliSense. Oh, that's why. I did say in one of my presentations last year, if you don't get IntelliSense, the chances are you're being an idiot. Don't need that one though, do I? M on vinyl equals new app, and I pass in device types dot. Now there's no IntelliSense there because that shouldn't have done that, but that's got a thingy, so I can do that, and then I can do the IntelliSense. So that's me, not our implementation in Visual Studio. And then in theory, I can do load application. M on vinyl. Okay. But one of the reasons that's not working is this is no longer an activity. This will extend Xamarin Forms .platform .android .forms compat activity. Okay? I'm just going to build this then and see what happens in a minute. First thing I will do is just go on to on vinyl Android. If we do get it to work, in the manifest, the icon can be that one. We do need version numbers, and see how it's created the package name on vinyl Android .on vinyl Android. That's where you think, if you forget to change that and you purchase a component that is licensed, it will ask you for that package name. So you pay your $50, you give it that package name, then you get to deploying it on Google Store, and Google say, well, it's got to be com.something.something. So you go, oh, okay. So you change your package name to com.synergex.physiomyway, run it, and all the components that you've paid go, it's not licensed anymore. Oh, okay. So you go back to the vendor and say, I've had to change my package name. Yeah, right, it's a new application, you have to pay us again. So that's what I was saying right at the beginning in my presentation about Physiomyway and that. Design it all out first. Get the names right before you go off building it and buying it and trying to deploy it. That's where you get hit. Obviously, it's not going to affect us. One thing we will need to do, if we do get this working and we want to talk to Symphony Bridge, that's on a remote server, so we have to have internet capabilities. Even though we've got internet to get the phone app downloaded, you still have to request it. So let's just see where we get to with a build. Let me just double check what's referenced. I don't think we're going to need referencing Symphony in there, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We got a cancel, but we never know. I don't know why that stopped building. I'm very confused now because that was building 5 minutes ago. So what I'm going to do is, Yeah, I will do. As I said, I got so far with it last night. It's not the same, but I had some issues. There's no point trying to waste lots and lots of time. Obviously, that's what it is, right there. We've not got the camera running on this version. So, I'm going to enter a barcode in here. 0888. You can see why you need the barcode reader, don't you? So, have I got it? Now what that should do is go up to the server, do the select. If I've got it, it'll return the image and say, you've got it, cool. If it crashes, okay, I give up. The button going grey means the command was executed, because on that generic command I'm setting the don't allow execution property, which raises an event. It's all hidden in Symphony Framework that says button go disabled, so you can't press it again. I don't know what's happening with it. I'm going to say sorry, I'm not going to get this working. I'll carry on and get it working in the next day or two, and I'll post a blog and I'll put the solution up on GitHub and I'll post a link to it and you'll be able to download it. If you've got an iPhone, you'll be able to put it straight on there. You will have to change the device lighting, those bits I changed. I'll put instructions of how to do that on the blog, and then once I've done that, I'll also put an iPhone project up there as well, so you'll be able to have a go on iPhone. But as I say, I foolishly updated Android SDKs and Java and Xamarin Forms and everything yesterday. But saying that, all I was going to do was, oh look, I've got this project, copy it in and build it. What we've done is go through step by step and build and code gen and all that kind of stuff. So it's up to you whether you go away thinking, well, it was better to see the steps even though the result didn't work at the end, as opposed to just seeing, oh yes, you can copy a project into a solution and it builds. Okay? So, thank you.